you're joining from today. Be great to see where you're all dialing in from, and hopefully some good regions as well coming to us today. Excellent. We'll give it one more minute and then we will get going. Just a reminder to jump into the chat and let us know where you're dialing in from today. Dialing in sounds very 1990s, doesn't it? Speedily connecting from, I should say. But folks, in the interests of honouring time, thank you so much for joining us today for the local government briefing. I just want to do a huge shout out to our colleagues at WALGA who have helped us coordinate today's briefing. It's really wonderful to be here with you. I just want to do a quick hi from our team who you'll be also hearing from today. For those who I haven't had the privilege of meeting, my name is Jodie Nunn. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here, and it's an honour to lead the team and walk in solidarity in this work. I do have apologies from my colleague Levi Islam. He wanted to be in attendance today, but he had some cultural business he needed to attend to. But he did want me to send his regards and thank you for participating. Francine Bayer is our General Manager of Members, Partners and Engagement. Alicia Bildville is our General Manager of Communications, Marketing and Digital. And Sarah Davis is our National Reconciliation Week lead. So just a big shout out to everyone in the team and also to our colleagues at WALGA who are joining us today, who will be doing a short introduction coming up. We always like to open these spaces by acknowledging we're on country, and from where we're dialing in today, we're on Whadjuk country, part of the Noongar Nation, and we just take a moment to deeply respect elders who have walked on this country and walked in the spirit of reconciliation for many generations, and have also held this country and cared for this country for a very, very, very long time. We really do acknowledge that we stand on the shoulders of giants in the work of reconciliation. Can I do also a big shout out to any mob who are joining us online? I can see we've got people from up in Karratha and all over the state, so absolutely fantastic to have you join us and to hear about how you can be active over National Reconciliation Week. And we're also going to be highlighting some really great work in the local government sector and how they're activating over National Reconciliation Week today. I'm going to take a pause and introduce you to Hannah Godse. Hannah is the Manager of Community Policy at WALGA, and she's going to be doing a short introduction on behalf of the team at WALGA. Over to you, Hannah.
Thank you, Jodie. Kaya, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Nick Sloan, CEO of WALGA, sends his apologies that he couldn't be with us today and hopes that we have a great session. I was hoping to share with you a beautiful video that some of you may have already seen, which is the Dancing on Country video that WALGA commissioned in 2025. It's a beautiful video showing just the vast diversity of the land and the waterways and our connections to country across the state. Unfortunately, the sound isn't working, so I'll save that for another time and we can give you the full experience. But that was just our way of introducing our acknowledgement. So I'd like to share my acknowledgement and build on Jodie's in terms of acknowledging that we are joining you today from Whadjuk country of the Noongar Nation here in Boorloo. And we pay our respect to elders past and present, both within this nation and across the state. And I extend that acknowledgement to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples that are joining us on the call today. So on behalf of Nick and the whole WALGA team, can I just say thank you to Jodie and the team at Reconciliation WA. This is, to my knowledge, at least the third year that they've held a briefing session on National Reconciliation Week for local government sector, which is really fantastic. It's a really great way for us to engage with the event and the week's celebrations, increase our understanding, and also really see and be aware of what tools and support that the team at Reconciliation WA can provide alongside their wonderful programme events that I'm sure they're going to share with us today. So this year's theme is All In, and that provides a really clear call for action, I think, for all of us, both as individuals, as families, as a community, and also within our organisations and our workspaces and our workplaces. And I think it's a really strong call for action that resonates with us all. And that's why I think the support that is available from Reconciliation WA in terms of the tools and the assets they have on their website are really important. And it also speaks to the fact that National Reconciliation Week is just 1 week out of 52, but the support that's provided by Reconciliation WA and their counterparts at the national level are actually there all year round to enable people to facilitate their own reconciliation journey and whatever that looks like. So thanks again for the team for the work they do in this space. At WALGA here, we really look forward to hearing what program Reconciliation WA has planned for the week, and also to hear from our members and what you're planning. We know there are so many wonderful events that take place. Excuse me, I think I'm going to cough. Wonderful events that take place across the state, and we look forward to hearing about those and sharing the celebrations. So Reconciliation WA, thank you for your time today. Thank you for the effort you put in to support our members in this space, and look forward to hearing the briefing. Thanks, Jodie.
Wonderful, Hannah. Thank you so much, and a big shout out to your team too. And can I also send a congratulations for the wonderful Aboriginal Engagement Forum last week. We know a number of people online would have been there, and we were delighted to be part of the panel discussions, but incredible work, and really great to see WALGA really strengthening their reconciliation efforts year on year. So big shout out there. Okay, so this year we are all in for reconciliation, as Hannah said, a really important theme. I couldn't think of a more important theme at this time. But really, please pay attention to that sub-theme of I'm in. So for me, it's really interesting this year. It's not just asking about what the organisation is doing, but what are we doing as individuals too, because we know that organisations are just a collective of individuals striving for an outcome. So it's really an individual accountability this year. So we're really asking you to get off the sidelines and take daily active responsibility for reconciliation. And of course, it's about advancing Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's rights. And that is never passive work. It's some people intend it to be, but it's absolutely not. And we have to be active. And we, as non-Aboriginal people, have to be stepping up and doing some of that heavy lifting on behalf of First Nations people. It's not theirs to carry alone. And of course, real change requires all of us. And that's why the I'm in message is really important. There's no guilt or shame. It's about forward focus. And as I always say, when I ask rooms of people, do we want the future to be better for our children and our grandchildren? And I ask people to stand if they support that statement. I've never seen someone stay sitting. So this is the work we have to do together. And if we don't do it, our children and grandchildren have to continue to do that work, which seems nuts when we can do it in this generation. So this beautiful artwork this year is done by a Bundjalung artist, Otis Hope Carey, and it's beautiful, and it's a real favourite of mine because I'm a bit of an ocean lover, and he's really tried to capture the ocean in this artwork this year through its ocean currents, tides, ripples, and the energetic rhythms of moving water. I've got a strange feeling he might be a surfer. So he's really wanting to make sure the artwork continues to spark meaningful conversations and our collective movement moving forward. And as I say, that I'm in message, we're all going to be badging you up for National Reconciliation Week and beyond, and asking you the question of what you're doing for reconciliation. For us, it's all about strengthening collective impact. When we say I'm in, we build that momentum together. And I often say we're as powerful as the volume of people that we have talking and moving on this journey together. That doesn't mean we all do it the same, but we want active participation from allies. So let's show up. It's not passive, it's definitely active. Let's show up with openness, responsibility, and a commitment to stay engaged. And as Hannah said, well beyond National Reconciliation Week. What we want to do during the week is to light the fire in your belly for another year and make sure we realign and reaffirm our commitment going forward. We absolutely will be highlighting regional voices, and I'm very delighted to see City of Albany. Big shout out to Nathan and Elise, who we've been working with very closely for a long time on the call today. And you'll see some really great outcomes from the 2026 journey that started down in Albany for the bicentenary this year. And of course, it's all about community-led impact. And I actually can't think of a more important briefing that we're having than with the local government sector, because you are operating in place, you are where the relationships exist, you are where the truth needs to be told, and you are where the on-the-ground impact can happen. So do not underestimate your power. In fact, I think the reconciliation power sits in the local government space. So that is why it's so important that we have these conversations with you. And we're inviting you to be I'm in. So let's go and have a look at the program for the year. You will see that through the course of this presentation, we're starting to frame out the next 4 years. And yes, Albany, we have nicked your gorgeous graphic, and that is because Albany has started its bicentennial journey in 2026, and a huge shout out to the team down there. It has been an epic start to the year. They've had Lighting the Sound, they've had beautiful stories. They've absolutely led the way in First Nations voices being put into the heart of the program this year, and right out till 2029, we will be focusing on our story of truth as a state and as and you know, the bigger conversation we need to have. And it's our vision at Reconciliation WA that post 2029 that we will have a very different narrative in the spirit of reconciliation than we've had for the last 200 years, and we really invite you to be on that journey with us. We could not do this work without our partners, and of course, big shout out to Walga, but also I want to do a big shout out to the City of Albany, who have come on side this year as one of our partners, and 2 other new partners in the Perth Mint and Fremantle Ports. We've also got the Shire of East Pilbara running our biggest watch party to date outside of the metro area. We're super proud of a long-term partnership there, and you will see also the City of Bunbury actively participating in the walk program, which we'll share with you a bit down the track, but we could not do this without all our partners. So let's get into the program and how you can activate and get engaged. And we will be sending you a follow-up email and EDM post this presentation, which will have lots of information in and links to tickets and all the rest of it. But I cannot start this presentation without acknowledging the very significant impact of the 26th of January this year, where we saw Western Australia's first terrorist attack take place in Boorloo at the Invasion Day rally. And to say that our hearts sunk on that day is an understatement. I felt like we were just getting our wheels spinning again post-referendum, and it feels like it's another huge impact. But what we don't want it to do is to affect National Reconciliation Week. We actually want to make sure people say, no, this week is actually about reclaiming the space and absolutely acknowledging the important work of reconciliation at this time. But what it does mean is it's changed our lens on safety, security and respect. So we will be making sure that we are planning all our events with that as a core priority. We will also be making sure we have appropriate security across all our environments. We're working with WA Police already, and we've been engaging early with them to support community safety in partnership. And we will make sure we have best practice safety approaches being embedded across all our activities. So we just want to really reassure Mob Online and people organising events to really think about safety, security and the impact of that event. And we really want to anchor respect because we know that we all want and seek respect. And people feeling safe and secure culturally is very much around respect. So we will, in our events, make sure they're also safe and secure for people to attend. So let's do a highlight program fly through, and then we will get into each program so you can have a look at how you might want to participate. So we always love to highlight the fact that our colleagues and friends at Yokai and Bringing Them Home WA host the Sorry Day event on the day before National Reconciliation Week starting. It's a really important event to acknowledge the stolen generations. And of course, we were absolutely honoured and delighted that the Premier announced the redress program for stolen generations at the breakfast last year, but we do not take any credit for that. That was all heavy lifting done by both Yokai and also the Kimberley Stolen Gen Association. So we really do acknowledge the continuing hard work of that group. Please support them. Information will be on the line. Wednesday the 27th of May, we return with our breakfast, and this year we're heading back to Optus Stadium. We are also doing an event down in Albany, and with the thanks to the support of the City of Albany, and we will be up in Newman on Neapali country as well. So Kinjalling and Neapali is our country destinations, but of course all of you can hold a significant watch party in your communities, and we'd love to encourage you to activate. On Thursday the 28th of May, we will be doing reconciliation memoirs, and we'll share it with you shortly who will feature there. We return to Hackett Hall at the WA Museum at Boulevard Up, and then you will notice a slight shift, and that is we learned last year that it rains a lot in June, and we had to postpone our walk to the Camberang season in October. And whilst it still rained on the end of October, it only rained to make it all look shiny for your arrival at 11:30, and then the weather gods absolutely opened up and we enjoyed a wonderful day. So we will be extending our walk to October again, because everyone seemed to love the fact that we could continue the reconciliation journey throughout the year. And then we've got a very special new event where we're heading back down to Kinjalling and Albany for our Pathways to Truth program towards the end of November. So we're looking forward to sharing all these events in detail with you. So as I said, Sorry Day, please support our friends at Yokai. It's a very beautiful and powerful event with a huge attendance from the Stolen Gen community, and you'll find information online. They're still putting the final touches to the event, but a very, very special event to participate in. And then to our breakfast on Wednesday, the 27th of May. Now, we do have our broadcast partnership again with NITV and SBS On Demand. Whilst the broadcast happens between 9 and 10:30, live broadcast, you can actually, because it's uploaded onto SBS On Demand, you can actually plan to partake in that breakfast right throughout the week. And as we said, the bicentennial journey has started in the first place in the Great Southern, and then coming up through, and we really want to focus on truth-telling and unity in action of Minangorring people. Again, a huge shout out to the City of Albany, who have done incredible work consulting with their First Nations people. And we will be sharing some of the stories that have been part of the main program down there that has only just started and continues throughout the year. And we'll be bringing the truth of that region into our main broadcast. There'll be 5 3-minute packages, and we'll be sharing the wonderful words of Kim Scott and his work down there on first contact all the way through to current day. So some really fantastic insights and learning. Truth will be a really strong focus for us, and of course we will be based in place and really prioritising regional voices and cultural performances. We're really excited to share that our MCs this year, the wonderful Tremaine Baxter Edwards, who you got to meet last year as the keynote for our Now to Next theme. He was our next. A reminder that Tremaine wants to be the first Aboriginal PM of Australia. I've certainly got my tickets on him. Tremaine's a gorgeous young man from Wyndham. He is a ranger at El Puesto Station up in the north doing all his cultural learning, as well as doing his business degree online. So he's a very clever young man working between old ways, new ways. And he's a Narragain Wallamari man from Wyndham, and of course Nkala. And those of you who know Carla is an incredible dancer and also cultural performer and filmmaker. She's a Minangorring woman from the Great Southern, Bremer Bay based. And together they will be hosting the breakfast on the day. And I love the fact that we've got the northernmost and the southernmost state covered in our MCs. So we'll have a great voices across the state. Our keynote this year is the wonderful Narada Jacobs, OAM. Narada is no stranger to Boorloo. She hails from Boorloo, but of course is the national news anchor for Network 10. She does a huge amount of work on films, documentaries, drama, and award-winning programs, and she's a huge advocate for equity, diversity and inclusion, and we're so delighted to welcome her. And she's become a mum in the last 12 months too, so a very multi-talented lady. And when we asked you last year, who would you like to hear as a keynote next year, Narada was by far the top of the food chain. So we're really delighted that Narada's agreed to join us. We do have a very special choir this year that we want to tell you about. Now, each year you can start your own choirs, the Voices for Reconciliation, and each year a song is provided for you to bring your choir together and learn. So I'm hearing the Walga choir already. I'm sure there's lots of crooners at Walga, but how about in your local government, why don't you have your reconciliation choir and practice the Beds Are Burning song? And there's a great pack of resources, and Midnight Oil have provided all licence-free access to that song for National Reconciliation Week, so you can absolutely crank it out. But what I'm really excited about is to close the National Reconciliation Week breakfast this year. We are calling for 60 crooners and choristers to join us on stage at the National Reconciliation Week breakfast, and you'll be led by local Noongar man Kobe Morrison, who will be the choir master. And he will be, there'll be a rehearsal in advance, and then you'll be welcome to join us at the breakfast, and you will be closing out this year's National Reconciliation Week breakfast. So We all know that the local government has many singing talents, so it's your turn to register. There is an EOI in the information we'll send you, so if you're keen, please get in early because we only have 60 spots for that choir and we'd love to have a whole diversity of voices there. Then we head to our friends in the region, and thanks again to the City of Albany. They're getting lots of accolades, but they've been doing a lot of heavy lifting and led the way for the state for the bicentennial journey. I do want to acknowledge that the bicentennial journey for MOB is a difficult conversation. It's a commemoration, not a celebration. It is acknowledging that it's been a very hard journey since colonisation, and we still obviously have a long way to go. And I know Albany's handled that with such sensitivity and care, and it's really shown up in their program down there. So a huge shout out to Albany for the work they've been doing. And we're all watching them closely as, of course, the bicentennial shifts north. At the same time as the Brekkie in Perth, we will be hosting a free breakfast down in Kinjali at the Albany Entertainment Centre. We want to fill the house down there, 500 people plus capacity. You can, if you have teams in that area, you're welcome to send them there. We acknowledge it's the first settlement site and we honour the ongoing leadership of the Menangarring elders. And what's really exciting is that we're going to be launching Australia's first place-based rap down there that we've been building over the last 3 years in partnership with Reconciliation Australia and Reconciliation WA and a broad base of community groups and the City of Albany and 9 other LGAs who have been active in that process. So I want to just do a big shout out. This has been significant work, and that place-based rap is a national first, and we'll be hearing that more about that for your communities as we go forth. We also head, as I mentioned, to near Pali country up in Newman. So from the cool to the warm Pindan country up in the Pilbara. Again, big shout out to the Shire of East Pilbara and our colleagues at BHP who enable this to happen. We fill the town square, which is about 600 people. All the local schools come along. And again, we make sure that everyone is welcome to join that event. So if there's any mob from Newman, we'd love to see you there. There's a very important walk happening which you may or may not have heard about yet, but you definitely will hear about it by the time we get to National Reconciliation Week. And that is the National Walk for Truth. Some of you may know the name Travis Lovett. Travis was one of the URIC commissioners in NARM in Melbourne, who was involved in not only the URIC hearings, but also doing the Walk of Truth across regional Victoria, which brought the request for treaty to the Victorian Parliament. And we all know that treaty has now been embedded in Victoria and legislated, and all the governance structures are now being established. I had the absolute privilege to sit in the URIC Commission and for 2 hearings about 18 months ago, and it was incredibly powerful. Travis came over here recently to check out how the Boorloo mob were feeling post the 26th of January terrorist attack, and sat gently on country and really listened to mob as they were healing. So he is now starting a walk from NARM in Melbourne to Canberra, and he's urging governments to commit to a national truth-telling process with First Nations people. His process is called Walk for Truth, and people can go on and make a pledge to that. Travis will be doing a video introduction and address to our breakfast. He will be walking into Canberra to deliver the Booker, which you can see there, which is a letter on a kangaroo skin, to the Prime Minister. So a really powerful moment, all combining on the 27th of May. We are also having a Booker made here to present to our Premier. So you'll be seeing that at our breakfast as well, calling for a national commitment to truth-telling and absolutely a state commitment to truth-telling. So I'm going to hand over to Francine now, and Francine is, as I said, our General Manager of Members, Partners and Engagement, and she will just talk through to you and activate you and make you think about different ways you can take some of those programming elements and get activated in your communities. Thanks, Francine.
Thanks, Jodie and Kaya, everybody. Lovely to connect with you all online. I've seen all the names pop up, and it's wonderful that I think I actually recognise you all. So it's a credit to you all for your ongoing engagement and support of the work that we do across WA. So this is just a couple of examples you can see on your screen, and you will get information that follows well about how we can start to generate excitement and activity within a local government or a place-based setting to show that not only is all in for reconciliation from an organisation perspective, but how you can encourage your individual community members and organisations within your local government to stand up and say, I'm in. So as we all know, there is a big lean in onto elders during National Reconciliation Week for welcome to countries, and it can be sometimes the default to say, let's look at an elder to come in and deliver a welcome to country and yarn with us. We encourage you to think a little creatively about maybe getting them in a little bit earlier on in the piece to talk to your staff or your RAP working group or your community members to share a little bit more about the traditional country that your local government's meeting on, and about some of the stories and local cultural protocols that you can consider when running your events. And then from that, build a local acknowledgement to country. So last year, and we will be doing it again this year, we encourage you all to record and share on your social media a acknowledgement of country, and we'll be providing you with some digital toolkits to do that. But also you can record one, which I know Hannah did last year, recognising the Binjara people. We both live on the same country down south in Rockingham. Shout out to Michelle Sultan, a deadly elder that's joining us from the City of Rockingham today as well. So we encourage you to consider really taking that leadership position and doing a local acknowledgement of country and sharing that on your platforms. Look around your community and see which local Aboriginal organisations you can partner with, whether that's for cultural engagement and support, whether that's for music support, catering, guidance, storytelling. There's so many different ways that you can be engaged. Obviously, down in the city of Bunbury, we know that there's a Jitty Jitty Aboriginal school, so you can look at how you could maybe connect with the kids there and get them involved in engagements. We want you to consider ways that you can utilise your current networks and communication channels to share the theme of all in for reconciliation and I'm in for reconciliation, to really deepen that understanding and awareness across your communities. Public spaces, obviously outdoors if the weather is fine, but libraries are an absolutely fantastic opportunity to host a yarning circle, to encourage you to reach out to places like Magabala or Fish Enterprises to stock up on some Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander books, and then that you could do a book club or a reading club or something there that encourages people to deepen their understanding of traditional country and Aboriginal engagement. Your sporting clubs, your arts clubs, your book clubs, your theatres, anything that you have within your local government are also incredible resources to share the messaging with, and look at ways that you can keep them activated. Even though our walk has been extended and will be hosted later in the year, you can still ask your teams to turn up on those days and participate in localised events that shows their commitment to reconciliation. Of course, you want your leadership and your staff to lean in and lead by example, and whether you get the T-shirts designed, and we'll share a bit more on that later, or that you share obviously a countdown to National Reconciliation Week, or some of your local deliverables, actions and outcomes from your Reconciliation Action Plan or strategy or engagement with Aboriginal communities, and flood the social media with positive news stories that advocate for a unified and more respectful future. And of course, the last one, and it's not the least, but of course, we want to see as many schools and early learning centres activated as possible. So we encourage you, whether they're a local government-run facility or whether they're just part of your community, to look at ways you can share the messaging and host knowledge sessions with those community groups, so that we're building this into our future generations as well. So some ideas if you want to host a watch party. As Jodie touched on before, we are live streaming the breakfast on SBS and NITV on demand. So you can stream it live, but we appreciate for some people that timing might be a little bit off. So you can also stream it later on and host your event and then throw to that breakfast, so that you can be witness the keynote speakers from Narelda and obviously the MC work coming through. Consider a good old morning tea, and we know that that's an easy default to go to, but we encourage you to consider places like Mocha Bakery, and there's Let's Eat Cookies that do Aboriginal-owned businesses that can cater for your morning teas. If you're hosting a watch party, download the reconciliation cards and ask people attending to share on a commitment wall what they're going to do to show that I'm in for reconciliation, and what their future will look like for everybody working in this space. You can look at hosting a reflection circle or a little yarning circle where you can ask people to just relax, reset, ground themselves on Budja and talk about their experiences of reconciliation and the work that they do and how they build that daily within the local government setting. Obviously, we know we're talking from a local government perspective where you have such incredible relationships with your traditional owners, or you're developing those relationships. So we encourage you to co-design your watch parties with traditional owners or with your local Aboriginal groups so that they can, so that together you can be connected to the messaging and the theme and ground it on your traditional country and Budja so that it's reflecting local cultural protocols and practices. Please look at sharing Spotify or YouTube or Apple Music from First Nations artists. Obviously, we know Beds of Burning is the choir song from Midnight Oil, Passionate Allies. But there's, as well, got spotlighted last week, and we had at our breakfast last year, Iconics is a deadly First Nations artist, and she has great music, as well as there's so many others out there leading the way. So let's really amplify the voices, literally, of First Nations and Aboriginal artists and share those at our events. And as I've touched on before, think about the hubs, think about those meeting spaces in your community. You know what they are better than we do, where people naturally gravitate towards, and whether that's sharing the sign, sharing the message, handing out pins, reconciliation cards, or live streaming the breakfast. Utilise all of those beautiful community connections that you have developed so wonderfully in place to host your watch party or your reconciliation event. So I'm going to hand back to Jodie to continue on with the next exciting part of our week's events.
Thanks so much, Francine. And yes, so we move now on to our Reconciliation Memoirs event. And this is a really powerful series that have been built over the last 4 years. This is the 5th. So we've had Fred Chaney, Richard Wally, Carol Innes, our previous co-chair, Pat Dodson last year. And this year we are delighted to be having an evening with June Oscar on Thursday, the 28th of May. We'll be returning to Hackett Hall at the WA Museum. And we really encourage you, these are great, really great events for people wanting to deepen their reconciliation knowledge. You're literally with the masters of reconciliation with this series who have dedicated their life to this work. June's a Barnabas leader. She's a Fitzroy Crossing woman, and she's, of course, the Australian Human Rights Commission, previous Social Justice Commissioner. She will be focusing on truth-telling, leadership and advocacy. It's been authored by Victoria Laurie, who's done the whole series, who just spent a week or so up on country a couple of weeks back with her. The ticket includes soup and damper and supper, and also a copy of the memoir. But have a think about how you might like to use this in your communities or with your councils. I think it's a great leadership tool, buying some of these books and then potentially watching the live stream, which again will sit on SBS On Demand. And you can even purchase this for corporate gifts and the like. They're really great resources. So we're really delighted to have June in the mix this year. Then, as I said, we will push through till October and wait for the sunshine to return and the wildflowers to come out. And we'll be heading to Katakumba in Kings Park in Boorloo on Thursday, the 22nd of October. This is an in-person event. And we really will be extending what we did last year, which was those of you who joined us at Gallup. We did the Walk of Truth, which was incredibly powerful. We will be walking in waves again. And this year we'll be doing the Walk of Truth at Katakumba. And this will be guided by Cultural Authority in Kings Park, and we will honour the truth of this place. And it's amazing to think that Katakumba has had many stories for Aboriginal people and has had very many purposes. So looking forward to learning more. As this event is in October, we're still in early planning stages for it. So what we're asking you to do is put an expression of interest in. There's a form that you'll see online, and then the expression of interest will be, once the event is ready to register, we will be emailing you and telling you, let's go, pop your registrations in for your organisation. At the same time, we'll also be heading down to Goombarup with the City of Albany and Yakadanju events. This is their event that we have partnered with them on, thanks to South 32. And of course, they've got a whole range of activities and entertainment, and you walk along the beautiful Kumbana Bay. So if you're further south, I've noticed someone's here from Wadambi country in Margaret River, you might want to get involved with the Bunbury Walk. And then finally, we head back down to, as part of the 2026 program and our commitment to truth-telling as part of our place-based RAP, back to Kinjalling and Albany on the 25th and 26th of November as part of our Pathways to Truth program. And just so you know, we are working towards a National Pathways to Truth and an international event in 2029 as part of the State Bicentennial. This is a real commitment to truth telling, and we'll be heading to Albany and really tuned into Mob telling us they want a day of truth for the community. So we're having a mob only day and then a community day on the 26th of November. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. We're doing this in partnership with the National Centre for Reconciliation, Truth and Justice and Murdoch University and Yokai. And we're also working with the City of Albany and a range of local community organisations in Kinjalling to make sure local voices are front and centre of this work. Again, you can register your interest for this event, and that you'll find this, we'll be providing more information as we get closer to. So now it's time to get activated, and I'm going to throw back to Francine, who's going to talk to us about how you can get involved in the week.
Thanks, Jodie. And just following on from some of the earlier conversations, these are just more ways you can be inspired within place. But before we get there, a huge shout out and thank you to the many local governments on this call and beyond that have supported the NRW Street Banners project. Each year there is a local emerging Aboriginal artist selected from the artworks purchased by the state government to represent the Street Banner project, and these banners are flown all across the state, across local governments, and local governments kindly host these sites, and then organisations or individuals can purchase a banner to show their support for reconciliation. That closed on Friday, the Street Banner project. So if you weren't so lucky to get a banner in 2026, please pop it in your calendar for 2027, because we know many of you have missed out, and we've had a few emails this morning, but our deadlines are pretty tight for those. But it is an incredible way to support the work of Melissa Sunflyer and her beautiful artwork Marumpa, which will be flown high through not only the City of Perth here in Boorloo, but as I said, across multiple local governments across the state. And Alicia will talk later on about how it will show up in some of the merchandise for the week as well. Of course, the great work that we do here from our small but mighty team of 16 couldn't be delivered not only without the support of partners, without the support of our local government and community, but volunteering. And we know in place and local governments have an incredible network of volunteers that lean in and support you with your events and deliveries. So if any of those networks are keen to support us with delivering the events that we're doing, please ask them to reach out to us at members@recwa.org.au. And of course, any of your staff that are keen to come along and support Reconciliation WA's events, we'd love to hear from you as well. There is, for those local governments on the call that are members of our organisation, we thank you. It's incredible for that support and ongoing commitment to reconciliation, and we are a member-based organisation. As part of your membership, hopefully you've all received the emails, and soon you'll receive a digital toolkit, which will give you social assets and resources and messaging to share both internally and externally. But part of your membership also, you will have had early bird access to registrations for tables for our events or tickets to our events, and they're at a discounted price. We also share with you the opportunity to attend any of your local government activations or events, do a briefing similar to this one to your communities. You'll have access to an activating all-in session with myself and some of the other staff here, just to give you further ideas about how you can activate in place and within your organisation. And we'll be sharing a dedicated membership email, which is the I'm in edition, with ways that you can show up both personally and professionally during National Reconciliation Week. If you are an individual member on this call, thank you again. You will receive, as we've spoken about earlier, a small acknowledgement or token of our appreciation, which we do share during National Reconciliation Week, which will be the incredible pin that Alicia will talk to later on, and also a bookmark to share learnings and journeys with your family and friends at dinner tables and within your circle of influence. And you do get a dedicated social tile that you can help share the message across social media, which acknowledges your support as an incredible member. For the organisations, the local governments that are members on this line, we also have a bigger kit that we'll send to you with the lanyards. All of them have Melissa's artwork on it, and those Cadagin and yarning bookmarks to activate lunch and learn or conversation starters within your local government environment. And we're incredible for library settings as well, to just help you learn a little bit more about the week, the meaning of the All In theme, and how we can embed reconciliation across our place. It is a big change this year around the T-shirts. We've listened to the feedback from the previous few years about sustainability and about wanting to make sure that those T-shirts are available for more than just one day of the year. So this year, we won't be supplying T-shirts to any of our member organisations. What we will be encouraging you to do is consider, if you did want to have the all-in messaging on a T-shirt or some item of clothing, you can download that directly from the website and then potentially add it to an existing T-shirt or design you might already have acknowledging your local government or your traditional country artist. Or, of course, you could have some specially developed with your local government or community co-branding and wear all year round. Obviously, we encourage you to utilise Black business and organisations if you are looking at having them printed new, so as to continue that empowerment and opportunities. I'm going to hand over to Alicia now, who's going to talk to you all things digital.
Thanks, Francine, and Kaya, everyone. It's lovely to connect with you all today. So the National Reconciliation Week 2026 Digital Kit is our free all-in-one resource, and that's designed to help every West Australian school, organisation and community group to plan National Reconciliation Week activities. Launching in early April, it's really designed to make participation simple and meaningful, and will be full of guides, templates, some media assets, the T-shirt files, as we just mentioned, and some really great reconciliation cards, which will be ready for you guys to use for any events that you may have in your workplace or with community. Also, again, this year we're excited to launch the Digital Acknowledgement of Country. So that will be from Monday, the 26th of May. We'll invite people from across WA to help launch NRW. And it really is a unifying way to honour traditional owners and recognise ongoing connection to country. You can use the template that we will provide you, but please also feel free to record your own creative video. Welcome to use the template if you need support getting started. Again, this year, Reconciliation Australia have developed some translated resources, and they will be available in 10 languages, which is really fantastic. And that just makes reconciliation more accessible to culturally and linguistically diverse communities. Our 2026 merchandise range is exciting. We've got some new pieces in there for you to purchase. That will also launch in mid-April, and that will feature the artwork by the beautiful Melissa Sunfly from our National Reconciliation Week banners. So the collection includes the Clothing the Gap pins, which were really popular last year, message cards, lanyards, and notepads, which are all at accessible price points. For those organisations who are on the call, these are really great for any events, conferences, or even corporate gifting throughout the year. All right, I'll throw back to you, Francine, to continue. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. So the other resource that we just want to remind local governments you do have at the click of a button or your fingertips is Kolbang Yangjing, the local government reconciliation resource. So when we talked earlier about connecting with elders or your traditional owners, this is a fantastic way that you can find out what traditional country you're on and the Aboriginal organisations that are operating within your community. So it was developed in partnership with WALGA, DPC, DPLH, it is LGIRS or LGIRS and supported by Lotterywest. It has 5 key pillars as well to support you on your reconciliation journey, and we encourage any local governments that haven't checked that out yet to please have a look at it. Or if you're on this call and you're from a local government, we're really keen to come and support you at your zone meetings or at any organisation events and talk a little bit more about the reconciliation journey and support that this website and broadly Reconciliation WA can provide, not just during National Reconciliation Week, but all throughout the year. So we do encourage you to have a look at that resource. So the other thing just quickly that we will touch on is I did mention that we are a member-based organisation, and it would be remiss of me not to extend an invitation to all the local governments on this call that aren't currently members of Reconciliation WA to consider joining us. We love building and deepening the connections all across WA within our community, and hearing your journeys and hearing your successes and your challenges and ways that we can further connect and support the message of unifying Western Australia. Your membership does provide you access to a number of different workshops. We tend to host them monthly. We have digital and resources available. We spotlight topical themes and ways that you can deepen your knowledge, build connection, and obviously connect you to a like-minded, passionate group of allies and or local governments and beyond organisations across many sectors that are doing this great work of reconciliation across the state. So it does also give you early bird access to NRW. And so if you are keen, there is still, and I'm just about to come to those ticket sale prices, there's still 2 more days left for early bird registration for members. So you would be able to take advantage of that offer as well. So here we go. Tickets are currently on sale for our members. So thank you to our member organisations that have supported us so far by purchasing tickets to the breakfast or the memoirs, or registering your interests to host a watch party. That is available, and the early bird registration until Friday, 10 a.m. And then it goes on sale for the general public and admission. So that's the date to pop in your calendars. And I suggest you use the Beds Are Burning theme as the reminder song, so that when it pops up, you know, quick, I've got to activate and get involved. Obviously, we're keen to make sure that, you know, all of the events are inclusive, whether you're able to attend in person, and we recognise that for a lot of local governments on this call, sometimes getting to Borloo just isn't possible. So really think broadly about how you can activate a watch party, register online for that watch party, and let us know you're being involved, because then we're better able to connect and share those resources with you. We obviously have watch parties for the memoirs, the breakfast, and it's an incredible way and a place to stay connected and engaged to the great work that's happening. So what we're going to do now is open the floor up to your questions, your ideas, your feedback, anything that is burning that you'd like to ask us. Myself, Jody and Alicia are here to answer any questions that you may have. So please do pop them into the chat or pop your hand up, and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you again, Francine, and thanks, Hannah. Folks, it's a big program and a lot to digest. I think the key takeout while we're waiting for any questions is to know that you can reach out to us and ask any questions, but almost all of those programs, other than the walks, are both in person and online. So Paige, is that your little hand popping up? It's a very cute emoji, but if you'd like to jump on and ask a question, we'd love to answer it for you. Or you might just be waving at us, I'm not sure. No, I think Paige might just be waving. Okay, we'll take that as a wave. Folks, if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for staying the distance on the briefing. Trying to ask. Sorry, you're stuck on mute.
Let me find you, Paige, and see if I can unmute you.
Sorry, Paige, we did an auto mute. That wasn't very clever of us, was it? We'll get that
no.
in just a moment.
You can unmute, but I'll do it for you. No, you're unmuted, Paige. You just got to have a yarn with us. Oh, it's probably you.
If you want to pop your question into the chat, we can answer it live for you, Paige, so no problem there. But for those of you who have no further questions, please feel free to check out. We'll give you 10 minutes of your life back. And thank you so much for joining today. Again, please be imaginative and creative. And I think Reconciliation Week is all about thinking how you can involve and include everyone. It's not just about the corporate C-suite, it's all really about community and connection. So use it as an opportunity to re-engage with your local community, mob, allies, and bring people together in a sense of solidarity. Thank you everyone for your kind words, and go forth and multiply.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you so much. On behalf of our members, thank you so much for providing this briefing today. Really appreciate it. Thank you,
Our pleasure,
team.
Hannah. Our pleasure. Thank you.